call this squares, and it will be an integer because there's just going to be a value in there. Go ahead and put integer. Now what I just basically did, this is a two-dimensional static array. Two-dimensional means that this has got its own 1 to 8. Kind of imagine it like a grid, and then there's going to be so there's a height of 1 to 8 and width to 1 to 8, and that is a checkerboard if you would think about that. Maybe you want to do something smaller just for an example. So right now that is going to be a checkered board of 2 by 2. So how would we announce something like this? Well, it's pretty much the same thing. 1 comma 2 is equal to 1 int square. This would be 1 1, excuse me. 1 comma 2 equals 0. Int squares 2 1 equals whatever. Put whatever we want. Int squares 2 then 2 equals 3 4 whatever. So this is a 2 by 2 square, and if you were to go at the first column and first row, you're saying this is 1. Then the next one would be 0, so you have the first row, but the column is 0, the second column. And then this would be the second row. That'd be 1, and then 4. So it should look like, from what I remember, something like this. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I'm trying to do this quickly. And I'll try to check that myself. So that's what that should look like on a square by 2 by 2. So we could say, I'm just going to leave that for right now because I'm trying to quickly go over this. But let's say you don't know your elements. Okay, we don't know what we are going to declare later. So what we're going to do, this is called a dynamic array. We don't know the elements, excuse me. So go ahead and start with private again. But we're just going to leave it as this. So how do we announce this thing? Well, in the form load or wherever we're going to what we call is redeclare this, we'll use redim and then int squares, and then we say from where to where now because we know what it is, and that should redim it. But then we have another case where we start announcing what they are. Excuse me, 1. And we do more announcements, whatever, it doesn't matter. You could do two-dimensional arrays for this as well. But the thing about dimensional arrays, the two-dimensional arrays, is they take a lot more resources. So if you don't really need to do a two-dimensional array, please don't do it. Just stick with the one-dimensional. Okay, so we did some announcements right up there, but let's say all of a sudden we figure out, oh shoot, we need we have another element we just found out for whatever reason. It's 11, element 11. Well, we don't go from 1 to 11. Then what we can do is what we call redeclare, or we'll just redeclare. We do redim again, but we have to do preserve. I'm going to explain that why. 1 to 11. What that means is that preserve is going to keep the ones that you did declare what they were, you announced. So these are the values 1 and 2 for 1 and 2 elements. So it's going to keep those. It's not going to erase them. If we just do redim, it doesn't keep them. So we have now 11 elements, but we didn't keep the first 2 that we declared, so we'd use preserve. And then we could loop through these again. So we'll do a declare a number real quick, a variable number. So here we go, loop real quick. For int next number equals, and we can do that low bound, U bound. Let's just go 1 to 11. Okay, now they're all going to equal 32. We can also do, if for whatever reason we only wanted to reference not the int next number, we want to reference a real one that we know the element of, we just use like 5 if we knew we needed 5. So maybe we only wanted to go 1 to 10, for example, and 11, for whatever reason we want to always equal 32. We can still do our above other ones. So that would do 1 to 10 equals 5, but the 11th one equals 32. Now we don't really need that necessarily in the loop. We could put that down below here. Int squares 11 equals 32. Then we could get rid of this because we only need to announce once. But the reason I'm showing this is you don't have to use int next number up here. Maybe if you had a different array and you only want to get element 5 or 20 or whatever it is, you can just use the number within this for next. I know this is going to be a little confusing, but get used to it, take some practice, go on some other websites, look at other tutorials, and just get more help. What I do is I just quickly go through it. Then you could just give me some questions or whatever. I'll go back over it. So that's going to conclude for right now. And again, if you really are looking for some more help or don't understand something, please ask some questions, comment, whatever. I don't mind helping. So until next time, I hope this video has some help, other than it was a little too fast for me.